Every single week, I was hearing friends of friends having accidents, dying.
What is your really main message or killer feature?
We are the first company that's able to assess them in a great depth and provide accurate debriefs of exactly what happened on the flight and assess pilot proficiency based on their actions in the cockpit. Right now, this is an $8 billion market. It's projected to grow to $20 billion in the next 5 years.
Hello everybody, welcome to Focus Point, a channel where we discuss how best founders make best stories and achieve success. In our recent episodes, we spoke to founders of already grown companies, of unicorns, of Turing and open web. But today I have my guest, Nikola Kostic, founder of a new project, Navi, which started just recently, but it's already, we can see that it moves toward big success. Please watch the video till the end. You will know what steps should be done to really make bright start and how to create, manage and focus your team to really achieve success. But before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you like it, please don't forget to like it. Let's start. Navi is a startup which decided to really disrupt pilots' training processes. Nikola, hello.
Hello.
Glad to have you here.
Yeah, super happy to be here.
Why you decided to start this startup at all?
I didn't have a choice. I've been a passionate pilot for the last 15 years. We have a huge problem in the pilot industry right now, where we have a massive shortage. So within the next 5 years, we're expected to be 80,000 pilots short. This was projected by a recent Boeing report. And flight training is one of the most inefficient training stuck. It's very antiquated. It's stuck in the 80s. We have old VHS-style video courses. It's extremely hard. So only 2 out of 10 pilots that start pilot training manage to get through the program. They usually end up running out of money throughout that process. The main issue here is that, in addition to that, we have, training that should take 50 hours for your private pilot course. It's taking, 80 to 100 hours for most pilots. So it's extremely inefficient. And the major issue here is due to cognitive load. So the airplane is not a very good classroom. It's a very high-stress environment. Most of the pilots are doing their training in there. And we're finding that through studies, pilots can only retain about 30 to maximum 50% of what's being taught in the cockpit. Within 24 hours, that declines to 5 to 10%. Within a week, you're retaining only 2% of that. So this is a major issue in training, but in aviation in general, pilots are struggling to remain proficient. During the course of this interview, I think we'll probably have 2 incidents that happen somewhere in the world because of very small mistakes that could have easily been preventable if the pilots were proficient.
Why you believe that it is right timing today to do it?
We've always recorded all of the data, this vast amount of data in aviation. This data has not been able to be processed effectively. LLMs weren't a year ago in a place where they could do this effectively. They are now. In fact, even 6 months ago when we started, the technology wasn't there yet. Now we're in a place where large language models can process a lot of unstructured data and make sense of that. And this is the major point where we are interjecting and allowing LLMs to help us process all of this to find key problems of concerns in pilot proficiency and pilot training.
I believe you show us later on practice how do you use AI in this process. But tell me, you're a tiny startup and it is very crowded industry. There are really thousands of pilot schools, and they exist for decades. So what is your really main message or killer feature of your product which let you bring your message to the market and really get attention?
Absolutely. So when it comes to flight schools, they are suffering as well because they have an 80% dropout rate from their school. They're not able to pinpoint and identify where the students are struggling. There is no consistent documentation across all of the flights. And really it comes to two things. So one is safety. We can increase safety with AI. And two is we can identify the key problem areas for them that they weren't able to with any technology before that. We can, while a lot of tools have existed in assessing flight performance, we are the first company that's able to assess them in a great depth and provide accurate debriefs of exactly what happened on the flight and assess pilot proficiency based on their actions in the cockpit.
You may see that combining your expertise and knowledge about some vertical or industry with possibilities which AI brings today can make really unlimited opportunities. So take your knowledge, take technological possibilities, combine it, and go for success. Igor, when you start project, you could do whatever, but to do really great project, you should address big market and have a scalable model. Tell us, please, why you have chosen this market? Is it only because you used to be a pilot, or it is really big and exciting opportunity?
It's a massive opportunity. We have a massive pilot shortage upon us now. The market is growing at a rapid rate. Right now, this is an $8 billion market. It's projected to grow to $20 billion in the next 5 years.
How do you see Navi journey? Say, what will be Navi after 3 years?
Okay, so within the next 3 years, we want to be integrated into every single cockpit of every major school in the US. And through our flight analysis, we expect to see the dropout rate reduce from the very high 80% now. And we expect to see pilots completing their ratings in half the time that they are now, due to the current inefficiencies.
Could you envision a world where pilots will be just trained by AI or kind of self-trained pilots?
So in fact, we have a team member, he's 19 years old, he's trained himself on the Airbus avionics and systems. He's able to fly the plane. He's self-trained through YouTube videos and home simulators. This is definitely a possibility in the future. There's a lot of tribal knowledge in pilot training that's only kept by the instructors right now. We want to democratize that knowledge and make that available to everybody and give a flight instructor, put a flight instructor in everybody's pocket. We absolutely think that most training can be done, can be self-taught.
I believe, except for real physical training, which is still
there is, and I have a point for that there. The physically flying an airplane and learning how to do that takes about 5 to 10 hours. You're endorsed to do your solo flight after 5 to 10 hours of training. A lot of flight training is about procedures. It's about knowing what to do in certain scenarios. It's about flight planning. It's got very little to do with mechanical skills, which can be taught relatively easily.
How do you think Navi can influence pilot training landscape?
So last year we had 250,000 pilot certificates issued. This is despite the dropout rate. If we decrease this dropout rate through Navi and make flight training more accessible, we can at least double this number within the next few years.
Who needs your product? Is it the main value for flight schools or pilots or for both?
Massive value for flight schools. They're experiencing a large dropout of students right now, and they have no track of where these issues are happening. With a comprehensive analysis of the flight training, this is an invaluable tool that could save them millions of dollars each year in training.
But from what I know about the project and what I understand, it is also great value for students, for future pilots, because it makes the process more exciting, more efficient, and in future safer, which is also very important. What do you think?
Yes, we want to follow the Duolingo model. Our tagline from the beginning has been Duolingo for pilots, taking a lot of information that's very complex and takes a long time to navigate and focusing it into small bite-sized increments to help pilots retain their proficiency. This has been a key issue in pilot training and retaining that knowledge. And as an assistant that's with them 24/7, we're going to assist them in being a lot safer, a lot more proficient, and a lot more ready for all of their exams. So we hope to be with the pilots throughout their lives. So unlike a lot of the other industries, pilots are always training. They're training all the way to their retirement. And Navi is going to act as a companion for them throughout this process and be available for them as an AI flight instructor throughout their career, keeping them a lot safer, keeping them a lot proficient, and allowing them to prepare for their exams throughout the process.
What is in your project, what made one of the largest flight schools in US start speaking to you?
They were jumping out of their seats the moment that they saw the project, what we've been working on. And they've been trying to build this for years and haven't been able to. And this hasn't been possible without AI and LLMs previously.
Now everybody speaks about AI, but nobody can really use it. And looks like you found the way in this industry. Tell me, what possibilities give AI and how to use it right to make a really disruption in some area?
AI is not inherently intelligent. It's a large language model. On most part, it's a gimmick, but it's very good at identifying intent. And this is what's been missing from aviation and analyzing any sort of data. If you don't have the intent of the pilot and what they're attempting to do in that moment, you cannot analyze the data in any cohesive context. So this has been where AI has been invaluable in identifying exactly what the pilot intends to do so that we can analyze it efficiently. Without that, all of the data is completely useless.
Do you need to create your particular vertical, like small language model and train it, or you just relied on LLMs?
Early on, relying on LLMs and leveraging that as it comes with its own inefficiencies. But as a small team, we're not dedicating our resources to fine-tuning, creating our own models just yet. Our main goal is to get to all of the data so that we can fine-tune our own small models that can live on the plane and work offline as well. That is one of the biggest challenges in aviation, is having LLMs that work locally within the airplane. Yes.
Okay, Nikola, here we are in your technical room. Tell me, what are we seeing now?
So this is an FAA-approved flight trainer that's used in flight schools across the country. It's an exact replica of the planes that pilots fly and train in. We're able to export all of the data from the G1000 simulator over here, as well as the audio in the cockpit, and simulate the exact environment that students will be in during their flight training.
But could you please walk me through how does it work? And could you please show what is part of Navi in this work?
It just allows us to replicate what's in the real plane, right? We're actually doing assessments in the real plane mostly, but in simulators too. So we will get most of our data points from either the Garmin G1000 or the G3X. It gets streamed into our app along with the cockpit audio that comes from the audio component of this. We also integrate live weather, all of the FAR aim, the PHAC, all of the relevant documentation and flight training manuals. It's our models trained on thousands of flights in the office, either here or a real airplane. That feeds into our device, and I'll show you over here how that data is reported and how that's relevant to the pilot and instructor who are currently training on the device.
Here we can see your application and where you really implement artificial intelligence and LLMs to the process. Could you please show me and explain how does it work?
Sure.
Hey, Great to see you. How do you feel about the flight today? Tell me.
So I'm a little bit concerned when it came to the near collision I had. A little bit nervous about that. Can you explain to me what happened? I cannot remember. It was quite stressful.
Absolutely. I understand how that could be stressful. During the final approach at Livermore, there was another aircraft on the parallel runway that came quite close. It seems you might not have had them in sight, and your downwind leg was a little too close to the runway, which led to encroaching on their space.
Okay, so if I'm in that situation next time and I'm too close on the downwind leg, what are some of the things I can improve?
If you find yourself too close on the downwind leg, here are a few things you can improve. First, increase your downwind spacing from the runway early on. This gives you more room to maneuver and ensures you don't encroach on other traffic patterns. Second, keep a close eye on your instruments and visual references to maintain a consistent altitude and distance from the runway. Finally, always be aware of other traffic in the pattern and communicate with ATC or other aircraft to ensure safe separation.
Is your application really able to analyze patterns, to find, say, most repetitive mistakes by some certain trainee and give recommendations what to improve and how to improve? I mean, just without asking, just bring these recommendations.
Yes. So this is the next step that we're implementing now. This was the first phase of what we're building. Now that we have the flight data, what we're doing is we're not only gathering flight data from the flight schools, but post-flight, the students have a debrief with the instructor. We're gathering this data and then correlating the recommended method based on what happened in the flight, and we're training the model on this data so it can give more accurate feedback. Right now, it's able to generally for like 90% of the maneuvers, it's able to give the right feedback to the student. But really, there's a little bit of a gap with all of the tribal knowledge right now, which we're training the model on. And this is, this takes time and this takes a lot of data.
Nikola, we understand what you are doing now. Let's get a step back and tell me, how did it start? When you got the idea and how you got your initial funding for your idea?
It's the cliche of every engineer and pilot, I guess, wanting their own Jarvis assistant while they fly. Every single week, I was hearing friends of friends having accidents, dying in aviation accidents, all due to small errors that were easily avoidable. And saw an opportunity here where we could really help with that and keep pilots proficient. So, reached out to a small network initially and gained their support on this. People have known me a while and were willing to invest. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've had multiple startups. And a lot of this has felt like, trekking through mud. But when it came to this, the response has been just phenomenal because every single pilot, everybody that's been exposed to the industry understands this problem so well. And they're in desperate needs of solutions for this. This is why it's been so easy for us to onboard the top schools so quickly within our first month. I mean, we didn't even have a prototype. Soon after that, reached out to an investor network. Somehow that got leaked out into the industry. I guess investors asking, others for their opinions. And through that, we managed to get a lot of very strategic investors on board. And, the whole raise took about 3 months, which was very fast. And we were oversubscribed. We couldn't let everybody in by the end of it.
I remember the story, and I'm glad that we could be part of this journey from the very beginning. Tell me, how you collect your initial team and how you make your team aligned around your main project and its killer features?
So this all started with a hackathon that I hosted, invited 500 of the smartest engineers in the Bay Area to a large house here in Hillsborough. I invited people from SpaceX, from NASA, a lot of pilots, and presented all of the challenges and hosted a competition for them. This is where the initial team started. where they met. I had always a requirement for everybody on the team either to be a pilot or to have gone through the training so that they understand the problem deeply. That's been a very important thing in with our team. Currently, we're a very small team. We're just 4 engineers sitting in a very small space. So everybody's involved in every single step of the process. Everybody's aware and communicating with the students and with the flight schools. There's been a really important thing for us that everybody's aligned with exactly what we're trying to do at every step.
It is very important to have focused team and then everybody really understand message. How you make your internal communication, then even in your small team, everybody works in the same direction.
So we try to keep our sprints very short. Ideally, this is the only advantage that we have as a small team, is that we can iterate very fast. So anywhere from 2 to 5 days are our sprints. And we decide on what we're going to build next based on the various input that we have. We get it out as quickly as possible as an MVP. We get it in the user's hands, and then everybody's involved in that feedback process from the users. Then we discuss, add new features, iterate and repeat this process over and over again. And this has kept us really focused, putting the users first and communicating to them and catering to their needs.
Why we are here with Nikola and why AltaIR is part of his journey? We usually try to find and support young and ambitious teams at the very beginning of their journey. And here, main lessons are: use focused approach, build your project around killer feature and try to concentrate on it, concentrate your internal team communication and external market communication so that everybody is aligned, and combine it with enormous possibilities which nowadays technologies, artificial intelligence, evolvement of large language models brings to us. How do you build your external communication to get market attention in most affordable way?
Absolutely. We've spent zero money on marketing so far. I have a large social media following. I have 111,000 followers on my social media right now. Everybody's in the aviation industry. Most are in the US. This is where all of my relationships have come from. This makes introductions to flight schools extremely easy. This makes sourcing experts in the industry extremely easy as well. So this has been a key component for us so far, is identifying that and fostering that growth through the flight schools, through the instructors who then promote this to their students. Instructors are a source of truth in the industry and a source of all information, and we're leveraging them to get through to the actual student pilots.
How you really envision your great mission and your future and future of Navi?
As a startup founder, when we're looking at investors, the investment is one part, but that money eventually runs out. And if you have, investors that don't add value, that's probably the worst thing you can do for your startup. And this is where this has been super helpful, in being a guiding light for us in a lot of these situations and in a lot of growth. We don't necessarily always have all of the experience necessary, and we haven't seen the amount of companies that you have seen. And we really value and appreciate that advice and that guidance. That's much more value than the initial investments that investors make in your company.
Very important when you start your journey to understand with whom you go to the journey. The best investors are usually your partners. They already played this game many times. They know many positions and they know all typical mistakes. And they're really very much interested to help you.
So in the next few years, we anticipate to be in every single cockpit in every large flight academy in the country, and beyond that, being an AI assistant to pilots around the world, including commercial carriers. We see this as being a technology that's extremely needed in the space and a potential billion-dollar company within the next 5 to 7 years.
It is important. You should, first of all, see your mission, see what exactly you're gonna accomplish, how you will do it. And as in the case of Nikola and Navi, the way is clear. You just go after your mission, you will grab big part of already big and evolved market, and then with big probability you will become unicorn or maybe even decacorn. So I've seen this already many times in our history, and this is why I feel this bright future by this project. You mentioned that you have tiny and focused team. So how lean you are?
Extremely lean right now. Everybody's taking a minimum salary on the team. Everybody's quit big tech jobs to join this. They're all passionate about the project. So currently extremely lean. We want to make sure that we have at least 24 months of runway remaining in the current state. But we've noticed a product market fit earlier than initially anticipated, and we're going to have to scale our team very soon.
When you start lean and focused, when you really rely on your aligned team and newest technologies, when you really understand what your customer needs and what is really bringing your product to be very important. This is why such companies can start with small salaries, they can start with very lean resources, they can work 24/7, but then enjoy really big stories and great money outputs too. I understand that you're a founder, and motivation of founders is in nature of a startup. How you keep your team motivated?
So all of them come from big tech, earning large amounts of money there. However, that is not what humans are motivated by. The whole team, quit big tech company jobs because they felt they weren't making an impact where they were. So what they have, joining Navi and why they're along for the journey is the impact that they can make. They're in an industry that they're extremely passionate about, and they have high potential returns because every single early employee owns equity in the company. And we're all on this journey together. It takes a specific type of person to join at this stage, but those people that do, it's a lot more fulfilling and a lot more rewarding career than working in big tech.
Here we have one more important lesson. You don't rely on people who come to your startup just to earn money. No way. It should be really team of like-minded people who really trust in this idea, who really are ready to focus and to fulfill. And they will be motivated by impact and future success. And they will be able to bring the team to this success. Such projects as Navi are especially exciting because they are lean and focused. They could be started with few $100,000 investment. They can be really roll out with $1 million, but they can bring to $1 billion profits. How do you believe? To what height it will bring the project? So how much money yourself and your investors may earn with it?
Now having product market fit and all of these relationships and contracts in place, we see that as a no-brainer immediate 10x within the first 6 months. But we're looking to now grow the amount of schools that we onboard and the amount of users that we have so that we can get to 100x within the next few years.
So I can anticipate that in the course of 5 years, this product will be 1000x and certainly will become a unicorn and very good unicorn. What motivated you to choose AltaIR, Igor Ryabenkiy, and some other body investors which are today in your support team?
As I mentioned before, it's incredibly important for us to have value and guidance throughout the process as we scale and navigate this counterintuitive world. And somebody with your experience and expertise and multiple prior exits I knew that you could guide us in the right direction to scaling to be a billion-dollar company. So this is the main reason that we chose to approach you as one of the first people when we're looking at investors into Navi.
Nikola, thank you for your trust, and this is mutual.
So guys, if you're interested in starting your own company or raising money, strongly encourage you to like and subscribe and follow Focus Points with Igor Ryabenkiy. Here you'll find all the best tips and recipes for success for you as a startup founder. Certainly got a lot of value from him myself, and do yourself a favor and subscribe and follow the channel.
Thank you, Nikola.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's been fun.